Tell us a little about your experience wrestling in New Japan, and what difference do you see between New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah, that was the Japanese company that you were before?
It's interesting. I think New Japan has modernized more than Pro Wrestling Noah. Obviously, like really New Japan and Noah from All Japan, like you can trace back every step. So the first wrestler in Japan was Riki Dozan. He created JWA. Then his two top students, Baba and Inoki, formed their own company. So like the splinters are there, and I think you have like All Japan and Noah was NWA All Japan was very based on the foreigners. So when Noah started, I think they really wanted to make it about the Japanese stars, and then I think kind of they concentrated on the Japanese stars a bit too much, and maybe relied on Misawa and Kobashi, where I think New Japan really kind of made new stars. I mean, when Okada come back, like if you know Japanese wrestling, usually when your young wrestler comes back, they go up to the mid card maybe, but
he went to the main event.
Went to the main event. So I think Gedo and the New Japan office, Bushi Road, they're very progressive. Like I love Noah and I had a great time, but I think maybe it was too traditional. And I think I feel like there's like a history of submission wrestling in New Japan too, that wasn't there in Noah. Perhaps obviously Inoki and all of the UWF guys, and I think that Fujiwara and Fujinami, I think those guys. So I feel like I fit in. I have like a role. I think I have like a position in New Japan that maybe I didn't in Noah. But I learned so much in Noah. Marufuji and Yoshinari Ogawa, like two of the people that I learned the most from. So I think if anything, I'm glad that I had both experience.
And in New Japan, did you expect to work with Suzuki-gun, and how is working with Minoru Suzuki?
It's been fantastic. He's a big inspiration because obviously he's had a long career. He's 50 years old. Right now I'm 30. I've been wrestling 15 years. So I look to someone like Minoru Suzuki to have a long career, but also like I want to perform at a high level. Like I don't just want to be 50 and wrestling because like it's my only option. So just watching from him, and I think he really creates big moments out of simple things. Like technical wrestling is minimal. Like really, like submission wrestling is minimalism, and professional wrestling is supposed to be like a spectacle. It's supposed to be really over the top. So I think what fascinates me and interests me is making something big out of small things. So I think when you see Minoru Suzuki, you get that. Obviously, we've got different personalities. Like he's one of the scariest people in the world, and he obviously comes from that real fighting background. I try to kind of put my own spin on things. I try to be more, maybe more creative because I'm not as scary. But yeah, big influence. And I feel I was kind of with everyone when I first joined. I was like, is this the right place for me? Like I'm not sure, but I really feel like it's the best place for me. I think if I was in any other group, I would kind of be at the bottom, where I feel like I'm kind of just under Minoru now, and I feel like I'm naturally a bit of a dickhead and mean. I think technical wrestling is better when it's angry. I think when people say they don't like technical wrestling, I think it's because it's kind of boring. It looks like a dance. So I feel like since I joined Suzuki-gun is the best stuff I've ever done.
I agree. And you won the New Japan Cup. They say that Gedo doesn't do pushes for people from outside Japan. How did you react when they told you that you were going to have this big push, win the New Japan Cup, and fight Okada?
I just took it each match at a time. Obviously, I thought, before I won, I was like, oh wow, I'm getting really big matches. Because usually the New Japan Cup, they vary the kind of level of opponents, but they gave me 4 main event matches, and also that was the first time I ever main evented New Japan. So my 4 New Japan Cup matches were the main event of each show, and I think to give me Taka is just perfect. Like I feel confident on the microphone, but in Japan it's very important to have someone who can speak Japanese.
The word from Taka is very, very
and also Taka's he's great at speaking. I'm so happy. I felt so comfortable in everything I did in the New Japan Cup. Like I've known what wrestler I've wanted to be for a long time, but I didn't know quite how to do it. Where like I feel like the New Japan Cup, I really understood the wrestler that I am.
You announced last week in New Orleans that you are leaving Evolve. Why have you decided to leave Evolve? Just because you are going to be more regular in Japan, or you don't see there is any kind of heat? There is.
No, there's no problem. No,
Are you bored of?
No, not at all. I feel like I understand period. Like I feel like chapters in my career. I mean, my goal was always New Japan. I left Noah because I felt like I reached the maximum that I could. So, but I left because I knew that I had a position in Evolve. So, going to America for me was really based around Evolve. Gabe Sapolsky's really kind of directed me, and I would kind of say like the way that Gabe has been with me would be, you know, with a child, if you have them on a leash, or if you just kind of like push them, like stop them from going into the road. So I feel like Gabe has let me kind of make mistakes, and then he's kind of told me what I should do. So yeah, I'm really thankful for Evolve. Obviously it's big pressure to be the champion, be the main event, I have to follow the shows, but I feel like after this chapter that I'm only going to go backwards if I stay in Evolve. And I feel like the independent scene needs top guys to leave, so that now
the younger guys
I think Austin Theory, if I'm there, I think I'll get big matches, but if Austin Theory, Darby Allin, like DJZ, these new people, but like it's not final. Like I'm sure I'll do more in the future, but I'm going to be in Japan so much that I want to, when I'm not in Japan, like I really want to be in Europe, like something like I did today. Like I'm not an expert, but I did a seminar yesterday, and I feel like I've been in the same position as these people. I feel like I remember how the UK scene was and like where it is now. So if I can do more in Spain, I want to help out in Barcelona. I'm going to go to Italy, Sweden.
You also are returning to Germany to
WXW. So yeah, I feel like for my career, it's going to be concentrating on Japan, and then kind of outside of that, I want to try and selfishly travel. Like I moved.
Everyone likes to travel.
Well, and before Brexit, I need to make the most of travel. I lived in New York to concentrate living wrestling in America. Now I'm living in London. I want to concentrate on Europe and New Japan.
So now that you are under contract with Evolve and you are working with New Japan, is there any kind of plan or possibility of you going to wrestle in Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a possibility. I think I would like it's appealing, the connections. Obviously, I wrestle for Revolution Pro, and then they have a connection with CMLL and Ring of Honor. So yeah, I think
we'll see you next month in the tour that Ring of Honor will do in UK.
I think that's a bit too soon, but yeah, especially I think if Suzuki, I would like to take Suzuki-gun to America. I think Taichi will be very popular.
This isn't the first time for you in Spain. You wrestled for SWA in Barcelona. How do you see the difference between that gym fight in Barcelona back 8 years ago in front of 20 people and now wrestling in front of 700?
It's incredible. Yeah, I think I think it's very representative of how independent wrestling changed. I think probably social media has helped, and I think WWE, signing independent wrestlers, and I think like before, I think maybe people had this idea that mainstream wrestling and then everything other was unprofessional. Where I think now people understand, like just like music or film, like you can be a stadium rock band or you can be an indie band, but it doesn't mean that one is good or bad. They're just different, and I feel like this shows that independent wrestling is fun, but also atmosphere. Like you can't have this atmosphere in an arena with 10,000 people. Like this is really special. So yeah, I'm very happy that Spain has something now, and it can only grow. And also, this atmosphere here really stands out at White Wolf. Like all of the best indies in the world now have their own kind of identity and atmosphere. But this is really, really special. It sounds cliche, I'm sure everyone says it, but
I know.
But I've never seen the reaction for local stars. Like they weren't just reacting to me and CCK. Like some of the most popular reactions were for the local wrestlers, and that's really important because like I'm going to come once a year maybe. Like we need to really kind of create.
And in social media, some people are realizing that in Spain are good wrestling because that, for example, that match between Ricochet and Naked from last year. Between wrestlers in Europe and in UK, is there any kind of buzz or any kind of conversation that hey, in Spain there is wrestling too? And
I think it's slowly growing. I noticed A-Kid and Adam Chase coming over. I think obviously I watched the show today and I was really impressed by some of the people. But I think it's a balance. Like you need to get to the top level that they can here, and then I think with the UK being so close, I think everyone really needs to make the most of being able to travel. I think we're lucky in Europe. Like when I was living in New York, to get to California was a 6-hour flight.
Here you are with
it was a 2-hour flight. That makes such a difference because you're already fresh. Like by the time if I fly from New York for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, that's a 6-hour flight. A time difference, you're already tired. You can fly at lunchtime, land in London, wrestle. So I definitely think everyone should make the most of it. But I was really impressed. I think this is special, and I think if everyone continues to work hard, it can only go up. I don't think people need to worry that interest will go down, because I think as long as the wrestlers get better, then the matches will get better, then the atmosphere will get better. Because the fans are so good now, and it's raw. So when everyone becomes really polished, I think it's going to be really interesting.
A wrestler here said that when they started training, they trained 3 years to be a mediocre wrestler, and now people train just 6 months and they are better than the wrestlers.
I trained for 4 years and I was rubbish. People get so much better now. I think if you can get good quickly, then brilliant. Not everyone has to spend a long time.
It's easier to improve if you have a good.
I think the atmosphere is different. When I started, the average quality of wrestler was much different. Where I think now, everyone is at least good.
Yes.
And then you need to wrestle better wrestlers to gain that experience. So I think Adam Chase and A-Kid are going to be kind of the pioneers.
I think so. They will open the door for future.
Open the door. And then, I really want to see, I think when the UK scene started growing, the companies not necessarily worked together, but they didn't fight each other. If they can try not to arrange dates on the same day, or you don't need to be partners, but I think just cooperate. I think that's my advice for a growing independent scene. Just try to think about the bigger picture. Wrestlers need to wrestle as much as possible, and to do that they need shows, and I think the companies need to work. But I get a really good impression of the mentality and attitude here.
Thank you. And there is a boom in indie wrestling in the UK. WWE is having this kind of contract with some independent wrestlers like Pete Dunne, Mark Andrews, that they can fight with WWE, and some indies that WWE accepted and they want to. What do you think about this type of contract? Do you think it's good for the wrestler, good for the companies, for the fans?
100%. I think it's revolutionary. I think WWE deserve a lot of praise for changing their mindset. I think they can have that stability, and also, as much as my career path hasn't been to go to WWE, when I did the Cruiserweight Classic, the attention and recognition you get from that is really important. So I think WWE is just trying, is trying to make the most out of what it is, and I think everyone else just has to step up. If Pete and British Strong Style, they get taken off shows to do something in America, then those other British wrestlers, they've got a chance now. It's only positive. It's only as negative as people want to make. But I think WWE are the biggest company in the world. Them allowing the boys to do that, I think, is really good, and I think everyone else just needs to step up.
I agree with that. And talking about the Cruiserweight Classic, some media said that they offered you a contract, others that say that they didn't offer you a contract, but you want to be in WWE. What's the real story of your experience in the Cruiserweight Classic? Did they offer you a contract? Did you say, I don't want to do this, or how was it?
I was offered a contract. I had a really good experience, but I thought before, my plan has always been New Japan, and also I feel like I'm in a good position, even though I'm going to be full-time in New Japan. I really want to help independent wrestling. I really took pride in being an independent wrestler. The last 2 years, I've travelled on my own, literally everywhere, and I've really tried to make a good impression of what an independent wrestler is, someone who takes pride in where they travel. Hopefully, is always in good spirits, has a good attitude, tries to help, and selfishly really experienced countries. Even though I've only been here 2 days, I came in early, did the seminar, went for dinner somewhere. I try to really put myself in the environment that I am. I think WWE are the biggest company in the world. I think they do things really well, but I feel like if you understand how I wrestle, that being independent or with New Japan is only better. I think the environment and the production, obviously WWE is a television show, and it takes so much work to create that TV show, but I think I work better in a wrestling environment. So maybe one day I'll end up there. I love, I'm really inspired by how Triple H and William Regal and those guys, they work non-stop. They are constantly working, and to see that in person and see how much work goes into producing a WWE TV show, I think people have no understanding how much work goes in. But also seeing that made me realise the best work I've ever done is in New Japan right now, and I think it's the environment for me. So I think maybe one day I'll end up there, but it wasn't It's not my dream. So if
it's in your current goal to be in
it's
WWE.
It's not in my current goal. It wasn't my dream as a kid. So if I end up there, it would be because I think it's the best career choice for me. I'm 30 and I plan on wrestling for a long time. So perhaps, but I'm so happy that so many of my friends are in WWE and that so many. I think the majority of the best wrestlers in WWE have come from the independents. So I'm really proud that independent wrestling isn't a dirty word anymore. Like that it's it's something that we can all be proud of.